Unafraid Show. Reister or wrong. It's your boy George Reister in the building. Come every week after Pac-12 After Dark, coming with all the top 10 from college football, the Pac-12 Recap, and the state of the Oregon Ducks after the Arizona State game. We got so much to break down. You guys, as usual, you can send your comments in, your questions in to a bunch of different ways. If you're watching on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or you're listening to the podcast, send them in to I'mMad@unafraidshow.com, or just send them in here. I will get to them. I will answer all your questions before I get off. I want to start out today with the college football top 10, as it should be for this week. We'll podcast on it later on this week. But after today's games, we got Bama 1, Clemson number 2. I was actually wondering if Citadel was going to be able to keep the game close with Bama, because then I would have put Clemson 1. Clemson 2, Notre Dame 3. They took Syracuse behind the woodshed. I got Michigan number 4. Michigan is the team that I have the most question marks about. Their defense is awesome, but the only problem with Michigan is they can't score enough points to beat Bama, to beat Clemson, maybe not even to beat Notre Dame. Patrick Fields, I will get to those thoughts on the Oregon Ducks toward the end once I finish the Pac-12 as well. Washington State number 5. Washington State made a statement today. Huge statement game against Arizona. They put up a ton of points. They wanted to make sure everybody knew that they are ready to be in the college football playoff. Oklahoma 6. Everybody knows I'm in love with Oklahoma, but the problem with Oklahoma is they can't stop anybody. They gave up 40 points to Kansas. Okay. Georgia 7. UCF 8. Ohio State 9. LSU 10. I mean, come on, man. I mean, this is insane. Thanks for the compliment, Dan Peterson. Now we're going to get to the Pac-12. And everybody who joined in last week while I was in London, I did it at 6 o'clock in the morning because I just want to continue to do it. Thank you guys for joining. Make sure you swipe up, share the feed, tell a friend about the Unafraid Show, and go to unafraidshow.com. So the Pac-12 this week. Pac-12 was absolutely crazy. Per the usual. I'm going to start with the team that is the number 1 team in the Pac-12 right now, which is Washington State. Washington State was absolutely awesome again today. Washington State was dominant. They put up, 55 points in the first half. I mean, it was scary how good they were. It was scary how good Washington State was, and they wanted to make a statement to the committee. They wanted to make a statement to everybody who is doubting them that they are ready to be in the college football playoff. And I actually have them above Oklahoma, who I love right now, because Oklahoma can't stop anybody. And Washington State can actually make competitive games with other people in the college football playoff. I think that they're good enough to beat Michigan. I think they're good enough to compete with Clemson. I think that they're good enough to cause challenges for anybody. And they're good enough stopping the run that they can play with anybody in the college football playoff. 100% believe that. But with them, they got a tough game coming up. They got a tough game coming up against Washington. I think it's on a short week. Yeah, they play on the 23rd. So it's a short week for them. The Pac-12 doesn't do anybody any favors. It's almost like that they're trying to make it difficult for their teams to get in the college football playoff. Gardner Minshew threw for 7 touchdowns, 473 yards. Very impressive. Arizona falls to 5-6. They're going to need to beat Arizona State to get a bowl berth, which I don't think is going to happen. But alas that. The next game up, the game that I was at today, I was at the UCLA USC game. And I tweeted out, if you didn't see it, because I had a real question. Well, yeah, everybody loves the Roll Tide now. Everybody loves Alabama now. They didn't love them when they were on probation. They forgot about them then. Um, what I tweeted out, I was like, hold up. So everybody remembers how USC fired Lane Kiffin on the tarmac. So my question is, all right, so what's worse than a tarmac firing? Because everybody wants Clay Helton gone. Like, how could they have fired Clay Helton in a more disgraceful way than the way that they fired Lane Kiffin? Well, people are going to try. They are going to try, like the team, they want to, they definitely want everybody fired. But that game was interesting because UCLA is playing 20 freshmen. Only starting really one senior. Spate's really the backup quarterback. Only senior is Caleb Wilson, the stud tight end. And they out there playing well. And I said it here. Mind you, mark my words. Chip Kelly in 2 years. So the next season, 2019, 2020. And then 2021, he will have UCLA in the conversation for the college football playoffs. Yes, I said it. And I'm not backing off of it. He is showing that he has every single thing that you need to be successful as a coach. He didn't have the athletes. Then he adapted his offense. Chip Kelly's playing under center, playing at a slow pace sometimes. I mean, he has 3 tight ends in the game, one back, bringing him in. I mean, he's doing things that you never thought that you would have seen Chip Kelly do. And then you got USC, 100% right, the Gecko man. Top 6 recruiting classes nationally. The last 5 years. Zero excuse to be playing the way they are. Zero excuse. There's no, oh, we have a true freshman quarterback. It doesn't matter. People win with freshman quarterbacks. You have studs all over the field. Oh, but we have a couple injuries. You have depth. It's only a few teams in the country that have depth like USC. You got like the Alabamas, the Clemsons of the world only have depth like that. And so right now everybody's wondering who's going to be USC's next coach. It probably will be Clay Helton next season. As Ryan Abraham, who was on the show this week, told us that they have a problem at USC. And that problem is they don't have a president. They don't have a president. And Lynn Swann is going to be his last year. You guys, I am going to get to Oregon, the state of the Oregon Ducks, after I finish the Pac-12. And UCLA, you have to love where this team is trending. They are trending up, and you have to give a big shout out to the dude that's going to be the Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Week, which is Joshua Kelly. 40 carries, 289 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He physically kicked USC's ass himself. I mean, well, obviously the offensive line did a great job, but he himself, that's a heroic effort. 40 carries, no fumbles, big plays. I mean, come on, man. Like, you got to get a kid credit. And you got to give credit to Wilton Spate. He's not a top-tier quarterback by any means, but he played really well. And the last thing I want to say about this USC game is everybody talked about how they want Clay Helton fired. Okay, I get it. But JT Daniels threw 2 awful interceptions, especially the second one. Like, your coach can't make you not throw that ball. Somebody said the game was fixed. No, the game wasn't fixed. USC got out coached. They got outplayed. I mean, that's the only thing. That is the only thing. We're going to get into the betting lines as well. Let me get to your questions about USC before I move on from them. Who do I think will be the USC coach next year? Hopefully if they do fire him, if they do fire Clay Helton, I would go after a guy like Matt Campbell at Iowa State. I would try to get Jeff Brom from Purdue. I would try to go to get the coach, I forgot his name, out of Utah State. Like somebody who's a proven winner. That's who I would go get if I were USC. I am going to get to the Oregon performance, guys. Utah and Colorado. Utah and Colorado. Listen, Utah is playing well with Shelley at quarterback. Utah is playing well with their backup running back. Their defense is playing phenomenal. And Colorado stinks on ice. They stink on ice. It is absolutely terrible. It is absolutely terrible what's going on. And Mike McIntyre, I've been saying it for the last 3 weeks. If they've started the season 5-0 and finished 5-7, he's gone. He's gone. I think this is his 7th season there at Utah. Only one winning season. One season over 5 wins. Last 2 at 5. Nah, buddy, that's not going to cut it. Not in this day and age when Colorado is actually putting money behind their program right now. You got to give credit to Utah. They deserve it. They play hard. Next man up. It doesn't matter. I like this team, and they are going to be representing the Pac-12 South. They finally broken through and won the championship. Somebody made a comment that I thought was hilarious earlier today about Urban Meyer coaching USC. Because if you saw the dramatics on the sideline in their game today against Maryland, Urban Meyer's hands on his head, bending down, acting like he's going to die. That way he can retire for medical reasons, sit out a year, and then come back and take the USC job. I mean, it was absolutely laughable. How bad it was. I was like, come on, man. Stop faking the funk. Stop faking the funk. A game I didn't watch today, I have to be honest. I just kind of looked at the highlights, was Oregon State, Washington. I rarely watch an Oregon State game, just to be honest, because they have the absolute worst defense in the Pac-12. Nobody's even close. So you know teams are going to put up 1,000,000 points. Gaskins rushed for 135 yards. They got Jake Browning had a 3-touchdown day, and he doesn't do that very often. You know, that's what it is. Now, on to the game that so many of you guys want to talk about because the Cal-Stanford game got postponed. Oh, one more note about the USC head coaching job. Pac-12 coaches. I've talked to multiple Pac-12 coaches who do not want Clay Helton fired. They're like, do not fire Clay Helton. We want him there at USC. That's when you know it's going bad. When Pac-12 coaches are like, please don't fire this guy. Please don't fire him. It's good for us if you don't fire this guy. So now I'm going to get you guys' questions real quick before I address the Oregon game. Someone said, should Herbert and his boys, as in Travis Dye and Dylan Mitchell, bolt for the NFL, or should they stay and make a run at a championship? Okay. I'm never going to advocate for a kid to stay in school just to win a national championship. I advocate for kids to stay in school when they are better off staying in school. I think that Herbert's pro potential will get better by additional time in college. I think that between the offensive coordinator, Mark Soroyo, and the pressure of the mounting pressure throughout the season, because he went from, Justin Herbert, really good quarterback, maybe one of the top in the nation, to, oh my God, he's first round draft pick. He could be the number 1 draft pick. Then that pressure starts to mount on you and it changes your game. And I think that that's what happened to Herbert. I think he's a phenomenal quarterback. I think he is an NFL guy, but I think he should stay. And if you're Dylan Mitchell, you can help your draft stock so much more, because I think that Dylan is an NFL wide receiver. He just has to be a little more consistent, run some better routes. He makes big catches, makes big plays. He's a touchdown machine. His wide receiver stock don't get hurt when you come back. Sometimes quarterbacks do, But like in terms of draft position, because they like the new young hot thing, that's why you had a guy like Deshaun Watson fall a little bit in the draft, but he went to a better team. And now they're probably going to the playoffs in his second year. So, 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. And Troy Dye is a little less physical Kiko Alonso. That's what he is. He's a good linebacker. He'll be good in the league, particularly if he goes to the right team. That's it. Is Herbert the best Oregon quarterback of all time? No, I don't think so. He can be. And I do think that they will have a chance to compete for a national championship if he comes back to school. But now with the Ducks game. So, in the first half of the Oregon-Arizona State game was Marcus Arroyo, their offensive coordinator. That was his best play calling of the entire season. I have been advocating for them to do a bunch of things, which are stop just running zone plays. Like zone plays are when they line up and everybody blocks right, blocks left, and then that's it. And then and instead of just running those, so they ran some zone plays. Then they ran some gap scheme plays. And gap scheme plays, for those who don't know, are plays like powers, counters, things where people are pulling, where the linemen are pulling. And then they also ran some stretch plays. So they got stretched the defense width-wise because they had some speed with Jalen Red. They did it with the backs too. They stretched the guys wide. So it was a good mix. And they mixed in some screen game to keep Arizona State from blitzing them. Great first half. Then in the second half, they came back and went in a shell. And I don't understand that. 13 or 14 passing yards in the second half? Yes, Oregon had some turnovers. But come on, man. Like, at what point, like, you know what you were doing in the first half. And you knew that Arizona State was going to make an adjustment. So that is one thing that separates good coaches from great coaches. And this is Marcus Arroyo's first time being an offensive coordinator, so he cannot be a great offensive coordinator yet. He's got to grow into that. I mean, Chip Kelly wasn't Chip Kelly now 8 years ago. He just wasn't, because he's grown into that. So when you look at the play calling and all that, like, you cannot go in a shell. Like the thing that great play callers do and great offensive coordinators do is that they anticipate the adjustments that the other team is going to make, particularly at halftime. That's the difference, is that if something you've been doing has been working in the first half, then you already have to have a plan for what the coaches are going to do to try to stop it. Because guess what? What you did in the first half is not going to work again in the second half necessarily. You're going to have to come out and show a new wrinkle, do something else, and then you can get back to what worked, because you got to get the defense discombobulated. And the Ducks offense did not get that done in the second half. That was like a hold on. Like, that was like a miracle win almost. I mean, I just did not have good vibes in the second half. They only put up 3 points. It was terribly scary. I mean, it was very conservative, because there were so many times on third down. And here is why it's so easy to play the Ducks. And this is coming from a Pac-12 coach. It's easier to play the Ducks on offense because on third down, they're running routes to get the first down. So the DBs are not playing for anything over their head. They're not. They're sitting on everything. So you have to threaten people deep, even on 3rd and 5. You have to be willing to take a shot, not just get the third down. You have to have routes that are built in to get the first down. And then also you have to have counters. So out and ups, stop and goes, crossing routes, deep crossing routes on third down. The way if they take away the underneath thing, you hit them over the head. Come on, man. Simple math. Come on in. Um, yeah, but I would say the defense played pretty well today. And one person that I would give a lot of credit to, that I have been kind of down on, is Thomas Graham. Thomas Graham, number 4, the cornerback, much maligned. I've said it before. If you leave him alone in one-on-one coverage, you got touchdowns coming. But he did a pretty good job today. Yes, he did get a touchdown scored on him. But for the most part, he was solid. Even on N'Keal Harry, he was solid. So you got to give him credit for that. Someone said that they are happy with the potential 8-4 Ducks season, and the Stanford loss still stings. 100% agree. 100% agree. What else? I'll answer the question about if I did it all over again, would I choose Oregon? And I do want to give some. Gus Cumberlander. Oh my God, that was unexpected. That was unexpected. What, did they have 3 or 4 sacks today? And the funniest part of the entire game to me was when what's his name? Justin Collins caught that 22-yard pass. When the announcer was like, Justin Collins, I was like, who? I had to get to Googling. I was like, where the hell did this Justin Collins character come from? Man, didn't even know who he was, but good job. But I do think the Ducks face a little bit of a problem because, Brandon Schooler cannot get open. I mean, it's just the truth. I like the kid, but he just cannot get open. I'm right close to Kayvon. Kayvon the kid, the number 1 recruit in the nation, Thibodeau, who goes to Oaks Christian. I believe that they do get him, particularly if the Ducks continue to win. Because remember, to land big recruits, the future has to be bright. Recruiting is all about hope. Hope. Yes, I said it, hope. Coaches are hope salesmen. You have to be able to sell recruits that their future and the team's future is brighter than the past, no matter what happened. That's like Alabama. When they go in, they have to sell recruits that the future is brighter than the past. Even though their past has been shining, you still have to sell that. What's up with the wide receivers? Is it coaching? Listen, man, you got Jalen Redd playing well as a freshman. Dylan Mitchell's playing extremely well. He's gotten better. You got Johnny Johnson drops a lot of balls. You got Brandon Schooler. He can't get open. Your probably second best wide receiver's not even playing right now because he's suspended, Brian Addison. And he's a little undersized, underweight too. So everybody keeps talking about the cavalry coming for next year. But I can't guarantee that because they said the cavalry was coming this year. Yeah. There's a story on the wide receivers. Let me see in the Facebook questions. Oregon seemed to play too conservative in the second half, almost cost the game. Wonder if Arroyo's job is on the hot seat. Hell yeah, Arroyo's job is on the hot seat. Arroyo knows that. All coaches know. Maybe except for Clay Helton. They all know when things aren't going well. And coaching is a what have you done for me lately business. That's what it is. So you cannot expect, if your offense is stalling out, having a bunch of 3 and outs, punting the ball a lot, that people aren't going to be looking at you with the side eye like, hey, homeboy. Hey. And so that's why the first half was so great for Oregon. Like it actually showed, okay, Arroyo, all right, you can do this. Second half, got to keep up the energy. Have that same energy. Make adjustments. That's what it is. Someone asked, is Pete Carroll coming back? I've heard whispers about Pete Carroll coming back. I've heard whispers about it. I don't know if it's true, but I mean, if you're USC, do you still want to keep going back to the ex-girlfriend? I mean, and he's 67 years old. How much longer is he really going to coach? Not that long. Someone said you would have 5 interceptions a game against these wide receivers. Man, listen, I don't know. Isn't wide receivers mostly about coaching? No, absolutely not. You have to have the horses. You have to have the talent. Here is the two things that affect wide receivers the most. Absolutely. It is play calling. So it is your coordinators, how good your coordinator is, first of all, scheming people open. And then the second thing with wide receivers is obviously talent. Like you have to have talent to catch the ball. You have to have talent to get open. Those things are kind of intangibles. Like your coaches can help you, but yeah. Oh my God. Okay. So somebody asked about, Adam Thielen is talented. And he runs great routes. And he catches the ball. Oregon's punter is awful. All right, man. When we first got the punter from Australia, I was like, hell yeah, we went and got an Australian punter. All the rest of them out here balling. Yeah. It's just not happening, man. I hopefully he gets his United States legs up under him or something. Yeah, hopefully. That's all I can tell you. Pat Fields, what about the tight ends? Everybody knew that the tight ends were going to be short on talent coming in this year. But yeah, everybody knew that they were short. I mean, they just don't have the bodies. Like, they don't have top-tier guys in the tight end room right now. But they are continuing to get better. George, do you think Washington State has a chance to make the playoffs? Absolutely. 100%. 100%. Because, okay, I'll go over my top 10 real quick in case you missed it. I got Bama at 1, Clemson at 2, Notre Dame at 3, Michigan at 4, Washington State at 5, Oklahoma at 6, Georgia at 7, Central Florida at 8, Ohio State at 9, and LSU at 10. That's what I got. Someone said tight ends look like Hercules, play like Jane. I mean, they were short in the tight end room, and their starting tight end got hurt this year too. So, and then Breland's been all right, hasn't really done very much. So, so Clemson won today. Clemson beat Duke today. Clemson came close to losing to Syracuse, I believe. But that's when our quarterback got hurt too. And they had to come back and win the game. But Washington State, because when you look at what you've seen, so I've been a big Oklahoma fan, a huge Oklahoma fan. I was in the bed with Oklahoma. I believed in them. And I do believe that they could score the most points on Alabama. The problem is the score is going to be like 65 to 55. I mean, Alabama's going to get a couple stops. And Oklahoma, I don't think, can stop Alabama on a drive like more than twice the entire game. Maybe. Yeah, somebody said 150, 100. Yeah, that'll probably be the score. I do find it interesting that Texas and Oklahoma are probably going to play in the Big 12 championship game. I mean, so you with that, you have to think that Oklahoma would likely win that game, and if Texas wins that game, wow, boy, wow, the Big 12's out of the playoffs, and here comes the Washington State and the Pac-12. Someone asked about Hufanga, the kid who is from Corvallis who went down to USC. They said he's probably kicking himself for going to USC, especially because Clay Helton might get fired instead of going to Oregon. Man, listen, people choose USC for strange reasons. One kid I told not to go to USC. He's a couple years younger than me. His name is CJ Gable. He's playing in Canada right now. I told him, do not go to USC. Even if you don't go to Oregon, don't go there. They got 80 million running backs. And that was when Pete Carroll was there. He still did it. Bad move. He would have been one of the all-time greats at Oregon. What else do we have? Hey, if you guys have any more questions, send them in. Oh, someone said the reason why they go to school in LA. Have you seen the girls in LA? Hey, it is baddies out here in LA. That's the truth. How bad is Notre Dame? Like the worst team ever. I think Clemson puts 200 on them. What? No, Notre Dame. How great would this be? Okay, I know that this is never going to happen. I know that this is never going to happen. So I just want to say it up front, even though I know it's never gonna happen. What if Auburn messes around and beats Alabama next week, and you get Washington State beat Washington, and you get USC beat Notre Dame? I love chaos. I wanted upsets today. It didn't happen. Ohio State was supposed to lose, but you know what? They're going to upset Michigan. And I don't see any way that even if they upset Michigan, if they're getting in the college football playoffs. The last thing, someone asked about what are my top 3 Oregon quarterbacks of all time. Going to go with number 1, Marcus Mariota. It was a tough choice with Marcus. Marcus number 1, Dennis Dixon number 2. Because Dennis Dixon was absolutely 100% unequivocally winning the Heisman Trophy and the national championship the year that he got hurt. And then number 3, you got to give Joey his due. Well, in the modern era, yes. But 3, you probably got to put Dan Fouts because he played really well and he's in the Hall of Fame. That's just the truth. Someone said, does Marcus Arroyo get the heat for the play for the second half, or do you blame the calls on lack of talent? No, I don't blame it on the lack of talent. Blame it on the fact that we just didn't call a great game. We just didn't call a great game in the second half, and then they had some turnovers. That's just the truth. Hey, you guys, thank you guys for joining me today. Unafraid Show. I didn't see the questions on YouTube. I will get to those right now before I get off. Thoughts on the Apple Cup. That's Washington versus Washington State. I think Washington State wins the game. Their defense is very tough. Washington's offense is not very good. They got Gaskins back, which should help. But, I mean, like, Jake Browning's not good enough to win the game for you. He's just not. He's not good enough to strap the game on his shoulders and go get you a win. He's not good enough to do that. And Washington's secondary is going to have hell with Gardner Minshew. Going to have hell. Someone said if Alabama goes 12-0 but loses to Georgia in the SEC championship, do they still make the playoff? Yes, only because they're Alabama. If they were Georgia, nope. If they were Alabama, yes. If they were Washington State, nope. And the number 1 team in the country, absolutely not. They would be sitting at number 5. SEC bias, man. You always got to account for it. Let me check Facebook, see if anybody has any more questions. Nope. All right, guys. Peace out. If you have anything else you want me to get to, send your comments in to I'mMad@unafraidshow.com. I appreciate your time, appreciate your energy. Visit unafraidshow.com and then catch the Periscope this week and download the podcast We will have a couple great guests up this week. We will have Aaron Fentress up this week. So Duck fans, we will have Aaron Fentress. You can voice your comments, voice your frustrations. Tell him why you're mad, son. Peace out. Catch you guys later.